Yo, welcome to Urban Gameplay Gaming Countdown. It's Matt Pepper, counting down the hottest games.
Yo, what's good, Game World? I'm back here again with another weekly countdown video, and recently it was confirmed that production on the Xbox 360 was coming to a halt, so I therefore want to take a closer look at the top 10 exclusive Xbox 360 games that I personally found the most enjoyment and also only playable on the Xbox 360. Okay, some of these titles may be on the PC but not on the other rival consoles. This list is based on games that I've personally played and will consist of only one game per franchise. So with that being said, let's get straight to business and take a look at my top 10 Xbox 360 exclusive games of all time.
Number 10.
Yo, Naruto Rise of a Ninja was my first introduction to the Naruto game series, and boy, this definitely has to go down as one of the sweetest introductions to a franchise. Based on the first 3 story arcs of the Naruto anime, it follows Naruto as he completes a variety of missions, battle enemies and travel across the world. The game combines a 3D platform gameplay style with an RPG and one-on-one fighting as a bonus. There's a large multiplayer mode where players create a character and battle with others to increase their ranks. There's definitely a lot of content for players to complete, and it follows the anime story to the T. So it's definitely no surprise that this game is definitely one of the best Xbox 360 games that I feel that was released on the console, and definitely worth playing if you own the Xbox 360.
Number 9.
It goes without saying that shooter games are definitely a popular genre on all platforms, and Perfect Dark Zero in my personal eyes is definitely a solid first-person shooter game upon its initial release. The campaign mode features 14 missions for the single player mode, which can be also played during co-op with another player. Like the most of the FPS games, the multiplayer mode features several game modes including deathmatch and objective-based modes where up to 32 players can compete together. For me, this is definitely a great game in terms of the online functionality, because it was kind of the game that introduced me to Xbox Live, really. In saying all of that, I have to be honest with you all and say sadly the game didn't really meet the high expectations upon its release, and the single player mode was not as strong as it could have been in my personal opinion. But the reason I actually placed this game on the list was simply because it was actually the first game that I played on the Xbox 360 prior to actually owning the console, and I would even go as far to say this was the reason why I ran out to buy the console in the first place. As I mentioned before, the multiplayer was superb, and it was definitely a game that I personally hold very fondly, disregarding all the negative criticism that it's received.
Number 8.
Yet again, in my personal opinion, the Left 4 Dead games are one of the most popular co-op FPS games to be released for the Xbox 360. The 2 games are also popular on the PC. Unlike other FPS games, this one includes some survival horror elements as the players must fight to survive against the oncoming hordes of zombies. There are 4 game modes including a single player campaign, a co-op campaign, an 8-player versus mode, and also a 4-player survival mode. It provides plenty of content and a high replay value for its players, so it's not surprising that I had to place this really great game on my list for Xbox 360 exclusives, because initially this game was actually only available on the Xbox 360.
Number 7.
Yo, as short as this game was, it was definitely a real treat to play and possibly one of the most enjoyable Tom Clancy games that I played back in the days. As part of the Tom Clancy Splinter series, it followed a line of recognized games in the action-adventure stealth genre. The third-person shooter sends the players on 2 different journeys. There is a unique storyline for the single player and co-op campaign plus 5 multiplayer game modes. This was definitely one of the highest rated games ever released for the Xbox 360, and even IGN went as far to give it an Editor's Choice Award. And I usually don't really follow ratings or review scores to the dot, but it definitely goes to show how good others view the game. In my eyes, the game is almost perfect and certainly one of the best games for Xbox 360. That's obviously why it's in the list.
Number 6.
Yo, set in a fictional Pacific City, this open world third-person shooter was critically acclaimed by game critics for almost all aspects. At the time of its release, it was considered to be one of the best of its kind. It offered players a detailed single-player campaign with an open world city to explore and complete missions in. There was even a 2-player co-op mode where players can roam the same city together, explore freely with no limitation, and compete in races across the rooftop or on the roads. This is definitely one of the best superhero games ever created, and 2 sequels are already in existence. The next game is due for a 2016 release, and trust me, I can't wait for that game to drop.
Number 5.
Now, before I actually dive into this game, I'm going to hold my hands up and say I didn't really like this game when it first came out because I didn't really like the way how the game was timed and you only had a limited time to try and complete the game. But as I look back on this game, it was a really dope game. As one of the most popular zombie games around, Dead Rising is a beat 'em up game with a survival horror element to it. Players are given an open world to explore in the middle of a zombie apocalypse where they must defend themselves from zombies, deal with dangerous humans and help others to survive. The most famous aspect of the game, however, is the ability to use any objects as weapons and combine objects to create new weapons. Compared to the other zombie games around the release of Dead Rising, I personally find it to be a unique experience, and despite all the issues that I kind of threw up before, the response to the game was still well positively received from all the gamers and quickly became one of the most popular games on Xbox 360.
Number 4.
Yo, I remember when I first ever played the first Saints Row game and I was thinking Grand Theft Auto finally got a real rival on their hands, as this game was superb and definitely unique at the time. For those who don't know, this was the game that started the popular Saints Row franchise and was given a variety of awards, and after its release including a reward from GameSpot for most surprisingly good game of 2006. Saints Row puts the players in a gang world where the players are inducted into the 3rd Street Saints gang as a freeway gang war erupts in the city. The online multiplayer follows this and it pits up to 12 players in online street warfare with other gang online. There are 4 game modes where the players can battle to death or escort a high value target. It's a unique game which started a long line of other comedic games in the series and definitely a game which certainly makes one of the best Xbox 360 games to play back in the days.
Number 3.
Now, I consider myself to be a major Zelda fan, so for me, I looked at Fable series as the Xbox solution to the Zelda series, and all I can say is that Fable 2 was simply superb. Taking place 500 years after the original game, the second game in the series sends the players on another journey into the fictional land of Albion to make things right up after the chaos that swept across the land. The game quickly becomes the best-selling title in the United States for its release months, and is also considered one of the most successful RPGs released on the Xbox 360, with almost 3.5 million copies sold by 2010. Along with a single player storyline set in a content-filled open world, there is also a co-op mode where the players can join and leave the games of other players at any time. With a choice-based ending, an open world filled to the brim with content and co-op mode, it's not surprising that this is definitely one of the best RPGs ever released for the Xbox 360 back in the days, and a game that I thoroughly enjoyed playing.
Number 2.
Yo, Gears of War 2 is part of the well-known third-person shooter series. Gears of War, the military sci-fi game, is set in the future as the COG continues to fight against the Locust Herd, which wants to sink the city of Planet Sera into the ocean. The linear story is accompanied with the ability to play the campaign co-op mode with another player and also various multiplayer modes. It offers a 5v5 mode where players battle each other and a horde mode where 5 players can fight against a wave of AI enemies. This is definitely one of the highest rated Xbox 360 games of all time. It holds various awards which was awarded to the game following its presentation reveal in E3 2008. All in all, for those who've played this game will definitely know just how superb this game is, and all I can say is bring on Gears of War 4.
Number 1.
To be real with you guys, picking number 1 for this type of list was really difficult because I didn't really know how to gauge it, but it must be said that this is definitely one of the most famous game series to ever be released for any Xbox console and is one of the most well-known FPS game series to ever exist. Halo 3 is the 3rd game in the series, and the story follows the interstellar war between humanity and the Covenant, who are set on destroying all human colonies. In addition to the solo single player, it can also be played co-op with up to 3 other players online. Halo is the most known for its multiplayer, and this game has no exceptions. It has a variety of multiplayer game modes where up to 16 players can compete in the same instance for death matches, capture the flag, or other team-based games. In addition to this, players can create their own matches with custom rules and customized matches which allow players to create their own unique games. Halo 3 is definitely one of the highest rated games to ever be released for the Xbox 360 and received a variety of awards for its multiplayer, visuals and several Game of the Year awards. This is without doubt one of the greatest Xbox 360 games ever to be released, and it was kind of hard for me not to place this game at the #1 spot. I remember when this game first ever came out and I got it on day one, and I was blown away by how many people was trying to access the server and play online. So this is definitely a game that goes down in history in my personal opinion of my experience on the Xbox 360. Anyway peeps, thanks for taking the time out to check out my top 10 Xbox 360 exclusive games of all time that I personally played. Do let me know in the comments below your thoughts of my list and what was your favorite Xbox 360 exclusive game of all time. This countdown video will be kicking off a series of 7th generation countdowns, where next video I'll be aiming to look at the PlayStation 3 exclusives and the Nintendo Wii. So definitely do look out for those videos, and to wrap it up, we'll be looking at the 7th generation on the whole, where we will look at the best games released on the 7th generation across all platforms. Anyway peeps, do hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, do subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content of the channel, and until next urban gameplay video, we definitely say peace out peeps.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more cool urban gameplay videos.